Tonight is a fantastic broadcast for you, and a special broadcast to you tonight. We're interviewing close protection specialist Mark Morgan. Mark, good evening and welcome to Best Business Growth TV.
Thank you, Bradley, and good evening to you, mate.
Listen, Mark, I know we're going to go through some of the incredible things about you, about being a close protection specialist. But let me just set the scene, audience, if you may. Now, if you know Mark, everybody right now that's in business, that's making transformation and changes, needs as much support as possible. So please, put a comment in the link, say hello, do engage. Now, Mark has a background in the security services sector. Now, he's grown his trade and he's increased his knowledge over many years. He's going to tell you exactly about that in just 1 second. Mark has worked with high level bands and influencers and business people, but he's also worked in the civil servant marketplace as well. Hugely experienced guy, and actually as a close protection officer, many people think that being in close protection is all about the ability to be able to fight and muscles and brawn. In fact, it's not. It's about having the ability to be able to see events before they happen in order to protect clients. Now, Mark is working with high level businessmen, their families and their children, protecting them. So Mark, listen, we've got a few questions we want to ask you about close protection. It's always fascinated me, and I know we've spoken off air about the different gadgets that you use and protection devices, surveillance, counter surveillance. But Mark, look, tell me, how did you get into the security industry first of all? Where did that aspiration come from?
Well, it started from a very young age in primary school because we got involved. A select few of us were invited to take part in a subject called Law and Order. And it was all involving the police and security and being security aware as a child on the streets. And that really got my taste buds going for security. And as the years went on, I started developing and watching news and reading the newspapers and learning all about different stuff like terrorist attacks on the TV. And I just felt something I've always been connected to. And I've really enjoyed it.
So, security is, I'm just inviting in some friends to come and watch the broadcast. So look, security is something that you gain a number of skills over a number of years. Can you tell me the sort of different areas you've worked in, your experience and your background? I know there's some things that you can't talk about, but what you can talk about and share. Can you tell us exactly the sort of areas that you've worked in and perhaps some of the skills and training that you've had?
Well, I've done basically every kind of security there is, apart from police. I've not been a police officer, but I've done all the other stuff: security, doorman, head doorman, done security for rock bands such as U2, which was my very first security job I was in charge of. Bearing in mind, this was before the SAA licenses came out, and I was at the right place at the right time, and I got asked to monitor the stage door as the band came in, and I was only 16, and that was my very first security job, and that really propelled me and my thought process into security, and I've just developed from then on, and it's been absolutely brilliant and a pleasurable profession to be in. So I've really enjoyed it.
So you do your love, which is important. So look, tell me, close protection specialist. What is a close protection specialist, and what sort of people do you work with?
Yeah, the close protections officer is also commonly known as a bodyguard, and but I work with all sorts of people. I've looked after like celebrities from BBC and few sports stars and ultra rich individuals, and basically at the end of the day, all it is making sure your principal client does not come to any harm whatsoever, and your job is to basically just be alert from the minute you're with the principal to the time you actually clock off from shift. So you have to be alert and just concentrate, and just nothing else matters apart from your principal and the safety and the well-being of your principal and the principal's family, if they want to protect the family as well.
You know, you've got to get into a mindset. I'm sure of you know, this having this ability to see things potentially before they happen. Because I know a lot of close protection officers, it's about their ability to be able to see something before it happens. So, you know, where does that awareness, you know, do you just switch on? Are you aware automatically as a man? Is it something that training's given you, or?
Well, this is something I've developed over the years from a young age. I've been in a lot of different security roles and met a lot of the general public, and each role I've had, it's been working with the public. I've watched the public, I've learned from the public, I've watched their behaviors, what they're like when they've got drink inside them, what they're like when they're not, how they behave and react. And also when there's been a situation what's got out of hand, I've watched them, you know, whether they go for their pockets to pull something out, and I've always been wary of that and had my awareness always switched on. But if I was to have a principal, and say if it was a celebrity, for example, and they arrive at a venue or an establishment, and there's a couple of hundred people there, my mind is not only just on the principal and his safety. I've got to know what's on full 360, what's in front, what's behind, and what's left and what's right, and then also watching the 200 people, crowd of people. And if I see one person go for their pocket, I've got to make sure if they're going into their pocket, they're going to get a tissue. It's a tissue what they pull out. So basically, you just have to scan everybody and watch their behaviors, and they make any moves or rash moves. You have to have your wits on you at all times.
Yeah,
that's your way to be.
I mean, it's an incredibly, you know, interesting role and job. So obviously working with, you know, high net worth individuals, business owners, they're also parents as well, and they've got families. Now, I know some close protection officers, actually their role, their principal is actually looking after the children, they accompany the wife of the principal on the school trips, etc. And then sometimes they'll accompany the principal on business trips. And in some cases, actually there's two close protection officers. There's one with principal on a business trip, whether that be the male or the female that's in business, and another one that's protecting the home and the family while principal's on the move. Is that something also that you do when you take a brief from a potential client?
We plan everything, what every detail is covered. So, and if the family's involved as well, and like young children, sometimes I will draft in a female close protection officer to join in the team, because who have got childcare skills, which can be added to the security as well. A bit like the film Kindergarten Cop, that Arnold Schwarzenegger was drafted into the nursery, like that. But we accommodate for everything, cover every scenario and expect the unexpected. And, you know, families, you know, we just go full tilt with families, and we have just give them the best protection we can using what we've got, and take into consideration the circumstances and the environments and where they're going and what they're going to be doing. So we check everything, absolutely everything.
Thank you. We've got a slight bit of sound of feedback, ladies and gents. But what about a full protection brief? So you're working with a high net worth individual, and you could either be purely a close protection officer, but I know from speaking to you and other close protection specialists that it's not just what you do, where you are giving and offering your close protection or your guardian, your bodyguard, but there's also There are sometimes, there's risks at the home and gaps in the tightness of their security in terms of surveillance, counter surveillance, in terms of the integrity of a building. So does your remit, if someone comes to you, would it include just close protection, or at times can it include advising and consulting on adjustments and changes to the overall security mix and program?
Yeah, because if I'm required to do a residential security job, what I would do is firstly go there before the job and do a risk assessment, and just go around the grounds, make sure there's no holes in any fences or gates what are not locked or can't be locked. And I'll go back to the principal and I recommend that this needs to be done to increase your security.
Yes.
And then we'd advise them like on equipment like CCTV if they haven't got that, or if it needs upgraded, because if they ever needed an upgrade on CCTV, because nowadays you can have a principal who's in America. He just picks up his mobile phone and he can just dial into his phone and he can check what's going on in his house with the latest technology in CCTV. So if any client needed that, we could arrange that to be fitted for them, and we just do an overall assessment inside the property and outside the property and the grounds. Yeah.
Okay.
Full consultation.
Can I ask you a couple of quick fire questions, if that makes sense? Thanks, Mark. Ladies and gents, if you're watching right now, we're with Mark Morgan. He is a close protection security specialist working for business owners and high net worth individuals. So, Mark, are you fully trained in evasion driving skills?
Yeah, fully evasive. Yeah, so I've been because it's been locked down as well, I've been going into quiet areas, sometimes practicing a little day turn, so keep my skills up to scratch. Yeah, hostile.
Okay, thank you. And let me ask you the biggest question, which everybody asks of close protection. In the UK, of course, we can't carry firearms, and I know more now than ever before, high net worth business individuals and successful people are requiring some form of security because of the risk, and COVID has caused much financial damage and concern and hardship for people, which means there is a greater risk. And I hear these horror stories in Marbella, where people are dressing up as police officers and they're kidnapping people. The question I've got for you is this: if you're with the principal in the UK, and God forbid someone pulls a knife or pulls a weapon or pulls a firearm, are you trained to disarm the person, the person that's going to be causing harm, or are you looking to protect your principal? What would be the process? I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to be in that situation. What is it you do? What is it you do?
Well, first and foremost, my job would be to protect the principal. No matter what, protect the principal. I come second, principal comes first. If the scenario happened, and bearing in mind it's extreme case and it might not happen, but if it ever did happen and someone pulled a weapon from their trouser pocket or back of their trousers and they pointed it at the principal, the last thing on my mind is trying to get that weapon, trying to disarm the perpetrator. What I have to do is basically make myself a shield. I become a shield and I just protect the principal. So if that weapon does go off, it's me who will basically take the bullet.
So this is real, what comes to mind with the films, Clint Eastwood, in the line of fire. And of course, everybody knows the film, The Bodyguard. So what you're saying is that in that situation, please God, that doesn't happen, and use all your skills and awareness to prevent it. Should that happen, you're the man that's going to shield your principal and take a bullet. Yeah,
I just have to hope that the person who's shooting is not a very good aim.
Yeah, I guess so, right? I guess
Yeah, but
thanks for making, lightheartedness of that. I know, and thank you for sharing this information. I know there's many things that you cannot talk about, but of course, within the Alfie Best business community, and Alfie Best himself, he's highly connected in the upper echelons and circles of
yeah.
success. So we're very pleased to be able to interview, and we're looking forward to seeing you come online again. Where can we find you, Mark, and where could people make an inquiry to inquire about your services and what you do? Now, I put the website up. I've got uhnwi-protect.com. I've got that right, haven't I?
Yep, that's spot on.
Which stands
yeah, I've got
high net worth individual, protection. And
Yeah.
look, what's going to happen in the next few months for you? Obviously, you're looking now to secure new clients. Would you work for someone full time on a contract for a 2-3 month period, or do you tend to work with different principles? I mean, once you're booked for a period.
Yeah, you can get a job what's like for 1 or 2 days, or a month, 2 months, 3 months. So yeah, and wherever basically I'm needed, I have to be prepared to go and work there. So yeah, anywhere in the world, if I'm required to say
Okay,
in America to go with a client, then yeah.
I appreciate that. Mary Johns just made a comment. Have very rich people do that. He's saying that nice guy. When she's famous, world-class speaker, you can look after her to get through the airports. Thanks, Mary John. We really do appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the incredible Mark Morgan, close security protection specialist. You can find him at uhnwi-protect.com. Incredible guy. We've shared some amazing stories off air due to the fact that Mark works under non-disclosure agreement with his clients. Obviously, there's things that he cannot say live on air. But for now, just wanted to say thank you so much for Mark for coming on and sharing some of your skills and some of your experiences. Just before we go, is there a story you can share with us? I know you've worked in the civil service for a number of years, but is there a short story you can share with us that was really positive? It could have been quite chaotic and disastrous, but it ended up being a great scenario.
Yeah, had one incident before where I had a gentleman pull a knife out on me, and because of legislation, I couldn't do nothing unless I was 100% sure it was a knife. So I'm just toddling along doing my job, security, looking after clients, and at the same time, I'm watching this gentleman up against the wall with something behind his back, and I've not been able to do nothing. And luckily, the police had been alerted because I did see a knife, but I wasn't 100% sure he was going to use it. But it was a big Rambo type knife with a hole in the handle, so it's got extra grip. And the police came and they stunned him, arrested him, and now I think he's doing 7 years at Majesty's Pleasure. So that could have got a bit dangerous because it was only about 6 foot away from me. I was expecting him to take a lunge at me because I couldn't move because of my position. So, but that turned out very well. But I was prepared for whatever he was going to do as well, and protect the client. So,
well, we're glad that you did, Mark. And listen, if you was protecting me, that's someone pulled a knife. I'd love to have the reassurance.
Yeah, it's all about having a calm head and not using force. Force is always a last case scenario. You never use force if you can help it. The best weapon we have as humans is our mouths. So we use our mouths and our minds, never our fists. So
yeah, most close security guys that specialize in personal protection are very calm, aren't they? So they don't put fire on fire. They want to put water on fire, don't they? Want to calm a situation.
it's all about diffusing.
moving away, getting the principal away, calming the situation. You come across as a very calm, guy, an incredible story. Ladies and gents, hook up with Mark Morgan at uhnwi-protect.com or on Facebook at Mark Morgan. Mark, welcome to the Best Business Growth TV family. We wish you every ongoing success with your career. You'll also be able to see Mark in the feature of a kind of day in the life of a close protection security specialist in Alfie Best Business Magazine, which we are scrambling to get live on Friday, being 4 days behind because of this dreaded COVID lockdown. Ladies and gents, alfiebestbusiness.com website is live on the 1st of December. Now, if you would like to appear in the show, if you are an educator or a teacher of business, you have a training program you'd like to add to our website, we're so excited with what we're bringing on the 1st of December. I can tell you it's been plenty of sleepless nights preparing and getting this ready. So go to alfiebestbusiness.com right now, pre-register your details. And if you want to reach out to me and get on the show, then you can call my business mobile or send me a message on WhatsApp on this number. I can't even remember my own business number, 07541 598412. My WhatsApp business number is 07541 598412. Add me on WhatsApp, get yourself on the show. Let's see how we can help you to move your business and your brand and your connectivity forward. This has been Best Business Growth TV, and I am with the bodyguard in the line of fire, Mr. Mark Morgan, Managing Director of Ultra High Net Worth Individuals Protect.com. Mark, thanks for joining. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Brad.